got to Unpaid Film Critic. It's been a while. I know I haven't been posting that much because I have school and stuff, but I'm going to be talking more about the Oscars right now. I'll be talking about what I think is going to win. These are not these are kind of my predictions, but I call these my final thoughts on Oscars. And in my mind, so before we go into it, I know Out Everywhere All at Once is getting all these nominations, like 11 nominations, but for me, I think that movie is great, but I think that there's some sleeper movies that no one really talks about, and one of them is called Women Talking. Now, this movie, I'm talking a little bit into Women Talking, and we're, All Quiet, and Basically Sharon, The Whale, all the ones that haven't really been talked about as much. Starting with Women Talking. It's set in this Mennonite community in 2010, and a Mennonite community is basically like Amish, like they're living off the land, and it involves sexual assault on women. And how it talks about it is it's all these women in a circle, and the trailers show them all coming together and voting on what to do. That is not what the movie's actually about. The title is what the movie is, but the script is so well written. It is like an Aaron Sorkin-esque dialogue. It is people interrupting people. It is very intense. There is no scene that draws on for too long. Everything has a purpose, and it feels so great. Women Talking really went by. It really flew by. The time flew by. I thought I would be looking at the clock a lot, wondering when it was gonna end. It wasn't like that. I was enthralled by it. I thought that film was phenomenally made, and I was wondering why people haven't talked about it. And I've come to realize that movie, it's not on a budget quite like Everywhere, Everything, All at Once. I think why Everything All at Once is so popular is because the actual visuals of it all is very fascinating. But the plot itself is fairly interesting, but it's the visuals itself that really elevates it. For Women Talking, it's more or less the actual plot itself and the dialogue that it is just so well interested. And how it's just so well understood. Go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. You're not missing anything. Go watch Women Talking. It is phenomenal. I hope it wins Best Picture. Now going on to All Quiet, which is a movie that no one really talks about. Now, All Quiet is a film about World War I. What I say that is, it's basically showing the foot soldier in Germany, World War I. They cut out all the politics. There's no talk about assassination of the Tsar. There's a little bit in for the Treaty of Versailles. There's a little bit of that shown in the film, but it really just talks about the foot soldier, like the drafted soldier, like the 17-year-old kid who wanted to bring glory to his homeland. That is what the movie is about, and it shows the horrors of what he's realized what war really is. The opening shot is soldiers in war, and they're in the trenches and they're fighting, and they're shooting, and their guns are jamming, and they're dying, and then you're just seeing people putting their bodies in trucks, taking off their uniforms, cleaning their uniforms, stitching up their uniforms, taking off their name tags, and giving them neatly folded again to another young soldier. And there is no main character. The main character is war itself, because on how it shows how terrible World War I really was, and how World War I is, in my opinion, one of the worst, I mean, it was one of the wars where it didn't really need to happen. I mean, historically, I mean, there's a lot of conflicts going on. I mean, I'm not going to talk about anything else because, trust me, it really shows you how violent war can be when you're just a foot soldier and you have nothing, and there is no politics at play. Like, it only follows these German soldiers, and they don't want to be into fighting. They're actually celebrating the Treaty of Versailles. You know who's actually mad at the Treaty of Versailles? The generals. The ones who don't care about the foot soldier. And it really shows you between high command generals and the low foot soldier guy who's marching off in the helmets. Oh my god, that movie is one of my favorite movies of this year. Was those two films really capture brief historical time periods and and then I'm diving. Okay, and then you're asking me, okay, what about Fabelmans? Well, I think Fabelmans is a phenomenal movie. Personally, because I have some personal gain into it. You want to know more about my review of Fabelmans? Go watch my Fabelmans review. But I really get very personal with that. I do a lot of stuff that I talk about a lot of stuff because that film really resonated with me on a deeper level. But I have to say that film is really hard to do. It's really hard to watch if you're not liking filmmaking. If you're not into filmmaking, the Fabelmans is very hard to watch if you don't like filmmaking because you don't really understand why. But I think it's really great because it really shows you how just because people say it's a hobby doesn't mean it can't be your job. Like, I really like that theme of it, and that's why it's phenomenal. Going into Banshees of Inisherin, that film is fucking hard to watch. That film and The Whale. I'll dive into Banshees of Inisherin first. Banshees of Inisherin deals with problems of people dealing with depression. More or less, Brandon Leeson's character, he is depressed. But it really shows you how when you're depressed, you don't say you're depressed. You blame everyone else around you but yourself. And that really dives down into the idea that, like, at first you think, oh wait, like, the main character is just annoying him. Stop annoying him. Stop doing it. You're driving him mad. But then you realize that when you're stuck on and the movie is wonderfully shot, but it's on this one Irish island, and there's nothing really to do, and it's just the most interesting shit you can think. It's the most interesting thing you can ever think of, because the idea that you're just on this island, it is beautifully well shot, but there's nothing to do on the island itself. It is the most interesting dilemma of script writing and idea that I can ever think of. It is great. I think that movie is hard to watch as well, just because these films are really hard to. I know they're. This is all my personal thing. I personally think these films are hard to watch. Yeah. Now, how do I talk about The Whale? The Whale, in my mind, is one of the most hardest films to talk about because it deals with some of the most hardest things to deal with, like depression, religion, homosexuality. Fuck it. It is one of the most depressing films ever, and it has one of the most gut-wrenching scenes you can ever think of. Now, whenever I think of that scene, I want to vomit, and I'm not saying what scene it is, but when you see it, you want to hurl. The Whale is wonderfully well done. It really feels much like a stage play, like a one act. Like, because it's just in this one apartment. All you see is one apartment, and everything that goes on in this one apartment is so fascinating. And Brendan, I don't know his last. He was in The Mummy. I really like the guy, the guy who plays main character. He was in The Mummy, and he's really great in The Mummy, and now I really like him in this film. And he's so emotional. This movie also showed Sadie Sink's character, who plays his daughter. And I liked her more in this than I did in Stranger Things. Now, I like Stranger Things. I'm not hitting on that, but it really showed you how much she's grown as an actress. I was surprised because she totally does kind of, there are some Maxine-esque things that she is in this movie, but she's so more emotional in this one than she was in Stranger Things. Going on, I really am kind of interested in the fact that the Oscars don't have a young actors or young actresses award, because there are some young actors and actresses in these movies that do a really good job and they've not been nominated. Like, I am kind of livid that doesn't happen, because I'm like, I don't think you'll be a certain age to get an Oscar. I really think if you're a young actress or a young actor and you're able to put yourself in a role that can get a film nominated, you should be awarded too. And I truly think that is an issue that Hollywood has. That, because the main character in Fabelmans is a young guy, is a young kid. Shows a kid's life. Movies like that, and the characters in All Quiet on Western Front, those guys are like 17 and 18, or max is 20. And they have so much good writing jobs, and it's all in German. I'm talking about All Quiet now, but I don't know why I'm jumping all the way, all through all these films, but I'm just saying that all these films have such wide, interesting casting, and the younger actors and actresses are not getting nominated like the older counterparts. I was surprised that Judd Hirschman is the Best Supporting Actor and not Seth Rogen. I was surprised by that. I was also surprised that the guy that played Sammy, the main character in film, is not up for Best Actor. I think he's phenomenal in that film. Now, you're talking to me like, well, you're talking about actors and actresses. Well, I think we need to change when we do biopics. Because I think it should be called Best Inspired Acting and Actor and Actress, and Best Original Acting and Actress. Or Best Original Character and Best Adapted Character. Very drawing a line, because I will be talking more about, I am going to be explaining more of these individual reviews, but I'm doing an overhaul. And when you see film and Oscars, I rewatched Blondie. Blondie is a Marilyn Monroe biopic that Anya de Armas is awarded for Best hasn't won Best Actress, but she is nominated for it, and she plays Marilyn Monroe. A lot of people are giving this movie hate because it sexualizes her. It shows her in revealing outfits, and it makes her much more feminine than people were. People were like, oh, what about this? They got this scene. Because they're showing her time in Hollywood. When Hollywood would sexualize the ever-loving shit out of females. This film, it took me 4 viewings to watch it, because it took me 2 times to watch it the first time and 2 times to rewatch it, and still, she does a really great job showing that how hard it was for her to be in cinema. And everyone's like, oh, why is she crying over, because it's the time period. People are confusing nowadays time with the time period of the 1940s and 1920s of cinema. when talking about this film, they're like, oh, why are you not having the modern day decency of giving her modern day respect? It's because how do you talk about a film like that, set in a time period like that, without showing the real correlation around it? And how no one really, and how also, I'm just lost for words how many times a lot of films have been and I'm just looking at these Oscar roles, and they're always saying, "Oh, Edward All wants is gonna win. Edward All wants is gonna win. It's gonna win Best Picture." The reason why Parasite won was because I was shocked that it won, because it wasn't. It was a really great movie, but I was surprised it won. I was surprised because I didn't know Hollywood was like that. I didn't know Hollywood can do that. Now I know Hollywood can do that, so now I'm wondering, what will we win tonight? Well, we don't know, because the Oscars haven't happened yet. But I don't think jumping to the conclusion that Everywhere All at Once is going to win. I think that there are some stronger movies that will put it to the test, and we'll only know when that award is walked out and is read. That is when we will know. And that is why it's hard to make just first and second. That's why I don't tend to list what I think is going to win or not. I mean, I did in my predictions video, but now as I got to think about all the performances and watch a lot more of the movies, I've realized that the Oscars themselves are good, but it's also just, sometimes all you gotta do is just look at all these movies and be glad that they're actually nominated. I am glad that they're nominated. Winning or not winning, that's okay by me. If they're nominated, they've done their job. Winning is kind of a hard thing, because it's all about who gets the most votes. And, yeah, I'm not really into that and all that stuff. Also, it's kind of like, well, if you don't like what wins, you end up getting mad. So that's why I don't really like depicting who's going to win and who's not. It's like basically a coin flip. Not really a coin flip, more like throwing darts at a dartboard. And they were like, oh, but it's nominated for these many more awards. It's like, yeah, but those awards are all, yeah, it's nominated. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking a lot about everyone. I'm sorry, I'm just tired of everyone. I like the movie. I think it's great. But I think that there's other movies as well that people aren't talking as much about that I think are really good. And those out there who do want to go into the armed forces and do want to go into war and do want to sign for the military, if you want to watch a movie to prepare you for the mental disability of that, watch the movie All Quiet on the Western Front, Jarhead, Lone Survivor. Those films are really good at depicting war and how brutal it can be and how heart-wrenching it can be going through conflict. For other movies, I mean, that's why I like film. I like film because it's all visual, it's all out there, it's all in your face. It's all constant greatness, but I really like movies that are not always like that, who tone it down, who bring the emotion forward, and the dialogue is key. One of my favorite lines from Women Talking is when they're asking, can these young boys be trusted to go with the adults, the female adults, because they're worried about the young boys adapting on their urges of sexual deviousness. And the guy there, who's just there writing down everything that they're saying, says, they are in danger, but they could be taught. And the idea that it's not, everyone blames the one person doing the crime. But wait, I don't think that is the key. It is where he's grown up in, or where she or he has grown up in. That is the era. That is the area that needs to be changed. I really liked all these films that getting nominated, I loved all the films getting nominated. I'm just saying that there are some films that I think are getting overshadowed by other films. And I just wanted to talk about the ones that are getting overshadowed. I talked about all of the actors and actresses not getting awarded because either they're too young, or or I don't know. I have to say that there's a lot of people getting flustered over it all. I'm not a big fan of Disney itself, like pushing its actors and actresses get nominated. Nothing against Angela Bassett, but I just don't really understand Disney's ideas on that, because a lot of her speech was in the trailer to the film. They used her big emotional speech as a TV spot or in a trailer. And that's what I didn't like. I didn't like it. Then they said, "Oh, you can watch people's most important speeches on the internet without even seeing the movie," and that's what ruins films. When trailers show too much, when trailers basically show you the movie in a shorter amount of time, so then you have to go see it. So then you basically can just see it without actually going to see the theater. I really like film. I really like it when a trailer doesn't show you that much, or when it shows you very little. The Parasite trailer is one of my favorite trailers, because it didn't show you any of the big changes, any of the big events that happen throughout the film, and there's so much that happens that you don't see in the trailer that you only see in the movie. I know this sounds like I don't like everything all at once. I do. It's a great movie, but it's really hard to compare it to other movies, because they're all about different topics, and it's hard to say that this one's better than that one, just because it has more nominations doesn't mean it's gonna win. That's all I'm saying. Just because it has a lot of nominations doesn't mean it's gonna win. Dune, last year, got a lot of nominations, only won 6 of them. Had like 10 nominations, only won 6. But those 6 were in visual storytelling, which was my favorite part of Dune. But you had Coda win, and I love that Coda won, because it was one that no one expected it to win. And I think that's going to happen. I think a film that no one really saw is going to get major bandwidth. I think a lot of them are going to look back on this and realize, wait, there was movies coming out that weren't that popular, that won. Well, I'm going to go see them. And that's what I think filming should be. It shouldn't be on what is the most popular. It should be on what is the most, what did the job, which one was most powerful to watch. That's all I gotta say. I kind of don't like it when films get so popular, everyone thinks they're gonna win. That's what I don't like about filmmaking. Yeah. I know that this is a bit last minute, but I have that. So, yeah. Happy Oscar night. And please, I hope everyone's doing well, because I sure am. And I'm so glad everyone's watching my videos and commenting. I just want to thank everyone who's been following me and has found my channel, or I've talked to and they have watched my channel because I've recommended it. And yeah, I really enjoy that everyone watching my videos has really got me into doing this. And I want to thank you all. Thank you, everyone who's ever said, I liked your video. I like what you had to say. You guys mean so much to me. I'm so glad I got to share this special moment with you guys. Thank you so very much. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have this YouTube channel. Thank you for making this YouTube channel really great and really important to me. Thank you so much. That has been my Oscar video on why I think popularity is killing the Oscars.